First, foremost, happy Valentine's Day. So a couple things real quick about my appearance. The bow tie is a gift from my wife a couple years ago. Yeah, super cute, one of those super cute bow tie gifts. And she said, one of the reasons she got this so I could have something to wear on Valentine's Day, so here it is. Yeah, looks great. Awesome. Thanks for that small smattering of applause. Another thing, I was walking up here and there's this group of boys standing down by a door and they're like, "Hey, magician." Yep. Guess what you get for wearing a black suit at school and a bow tie, so magician. So a bio real quick, since I forgot to give Seminary Council a bio of myself. Tyrell Salisbury. First of all, thanks for using like my goober picture from like 3 years ago. Bald-headed goober face going on there. Right there. This year's is way better, but maybe it was the mustache in this year's picture is like, no, it's not seminary appropriate stuff. So I grew up here in Pleasant Grove. I'm an alumni. I'm a Viking. I attended seminary in this room. Probably Mr. Brother Rick's a long time ago. It still smells the same. It freaks me out. Like I walk in here, it's like, am I in high school again? Weird. I'm married. I've almost been married for 10 years to my wife. She's back there filming me. I've got 4 kids. Bridget and Morgan are here. Bridget's 3. Morgan is about 6 months. Julia is almost 8. And Camry, who's also at school, she's almost 6. So it's a pretty big month coming up for our family because I get to baptize my oldest daughter, and I'm super stoked for that. Again, the O's are just killing it for me. So a few weeks ago, Reagan approached me and asked me if I wanted to do this, and I was ecstatic. I did this about 3 years ago, so none of you were here to hear that. So I was super pumped to be able to do this with you guys again. It was literally like one of my favorite things back when I did it last. So a lot's changed though, but I'm still like the 3rd best social studies teacher behind a couple of other teachers. So I'm still, I'm 3rd best. Let's be honest, 3rd best. This is seminary. We're honest here.
Also optimistic.
I am. There's room for improvement in my life, always. So I was asked to talk about love and the love of Christ. Since it's Valentine's Day, it's appropriate, and I'm super excited to talk about it because it has been super influential in my life ever since I can remember, but more so as I've gotten older and actually been aware of things and how Christ has influenced my life. And another thing that I like about this setting is a lot of you guys are like, "Hey, tell us stories." And it's like, well, I've got stories, but there's always like this spiritual undertone that if I were to share it in class, it'd be like, that's weird that you're doing this in history class. So I've got these experiences in my life that it's like, yes, I finally get to share with you guys some of these cool experiences that relate to myself and my spiritual growth. So first of all, my greatest example of the love of Christ in my life are my wife and my kids. That is like, the Lord must love me because I don't know what I did right to get 5 wonderful girls in my life. There are no boys in my house but me, so the Lord must be like, you need to be soft and, I don't know, and pink, yeah, soft and pink, the bow tie and the shirt, it's just common. So, at first I was confused about how to take the love of Christ and maybe teach you guys something special, something that would help you out. And so I was looking around on my Gospel Library app and I came across a talk by President Uchtdorf, and it was entitled, "Perfect Love Casteth Out Fear." So I thought, that's a pretty good idea. So I read over it and it's like, this is perfect. This is perfect for me. This is perfect for you. Perfect for everybody of all ages. So we're just going to focus in on that talk. And he mentions fear, and we all have fears. And these aren't just your run-of-the-mill fears like my fear of flying and water. I don't think I think that's more of a joke. I think the man upstairs laughs every time I get in the pool. He's like, yeah, enjoy that. Anyway, these are fears of the unknown. What if? I don't know what's going to happen. Those fears that the love casts us out, the perfect love. So fears for you guys. So I'm observant. I listen to what you guys say. I stand out in the hallway. I hear what you talk about, and I know that you have fears, and it ranges. So I hear so-and-so's already been asking people to prom, and that's like freaking you guys out because prom's like in a few months. And that's like a fear. It's like, why? I'm not going to get a date. They're already asking people. Another fear is AP classes. Like, am I going to pass should I take the AP test? It's going to be hard. ACT is another fear. Some of you want to get into college, and that's like the number one thing you have to take to get into college, and it's scary. There's dating. I know that you guys go on dates, and dating is scary, especially if you're new. Even if you're not new, it's scary. Parents, you can have a fear of rules in your house and what they tell you to do, what they tell you not to do. And then just general fears about where's your place in this life. What if God doesn't love me, or what if I do this wrong? It's cool because Christ's love will push that all out, and it conquers all. So I took some quotes from Uchtdorf's talk, and I want to share the first one with you. Then I'm going to share some experiences from my life where I saw the love of Christ cast out that fear that I had, whatever that fear was. So Uchtdorf said, if we ever find ourselves living in fear or anxiety, or if we ever find that our own words, attitudes, or actions are causing fear in others, I pray with all the strength of my soul that we may become liberated from this fear by the divinely appointed antidote to fear, the pure love of Christ. For perfect love casteth out fear. So the first experience I want to talk about is something that I've alluded to some of you, and I find like this is the unique setting that I look for when I share this experience with you. It's my mission experience. So back when I was your age, like 18, 19 years old, senior in high school, I committed myself to raising the bar, which was a big thing back when I was in high school, and going on a mission. So my senior year, it was, I'm going to get rid of all the rap music that I listened to, and straight up go soundtracks, or Motown or whatever. Jericho Road, maybe some of you have heard of them. I tried them out for a minute too. So I dedicated my life to this change, and so when I graduated, I was 17, so I had a year, and I was turning 18 in July, so I had a year to wait before a mission, so I understood that a lot could happen in that year that could prevent me from maybe going on a mission or maybe sidetrack me. So I dedicated a lot of my time to this change in hopes that I could get on a mission. So I get my mission call. I'm called to serve in this mission, South Dakota mission, which was like South Dakota, North Dakota, and a bunch of those Midwest states. And so I was excited. I was going to leave July 7th, 2006? 2006? So I was pumped. I got into the MTC, and that night something happened. I didn't sleep all night, and I didn't really know what was going on with me. And so I was like, okay, that's weird. I get up the next morning, and I'm not able to eat. And I'm freaking out because it's like, what's going on? Why am I not sleeping? Why am I not eating? So the third day I was in the MTC, I decided, I need to talk to somebody because this has never happened to me. This isn't Tyrell. So I go and I talk to the missionary psychologist, the MTC psychologist, and he's having me fill out this questionnaire that's super intimidating. And so I fill it all out, and then he meets with me. He says, look, Elder Salisbury, it's hard to tell you this, but the best bet for you is to go home. And that floored me. It's like, why do I have to go home? Why? That's not supposed to happen. I've dedicated the last 2 years of my life to preparing for this moment. And so I talked with a member of the MTC presidency and the psychologist, and they said, you have this separation anxiety. Now, anxiety is something that a lot of us deal with. It's something that is so prevalent in today's society. But back when I was 19, it's like, yeah, I've heard of it, but it wasn't this thing that was common. So it was like, well, what's wrong with me then? He's like, well, you just need to be home. You need to be with your family. And so I was like, okay. And so he calls up my mom, and of course, my mom's like, sure, yeah, bring him home. That's great. That's great. My dad's like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to come home? Keep him out there. And so I come home. I come home, and this is where the fear kicks in. It's, what are people going to think of me? Because I'm a 19-year-old kid living in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and I'm not on a mission. That's like, people are going to look at me and be like, oh man, you are bad. You know, you are a bad guy. And so I remember my first sacrament meeting. I mean, even the stake president came and talked about it. He's like, you know, Brother Salisbury has been honorably released from his mission because he's had this anxiety problem they didn't know about. And even then, I was fearful that people were going to look at me as I'm taking the sacrament, because if I don't take it, then something's wrong with me, you know? And so that fear, it just floored me, and it floored me for like 2 years. I was just like hit and miss with my life for 2 years trying to figure stuff out. I had hair like Thor for a minute, and that was weird. And it wasn't. And then there was a point where, you know, you heard me preach this place, but I went and visited with my sister up at BYU, Idaho. And being in that atmosphere where it's like the Lord first, we're going to pray, this structure, I decided to change my life. I cut my hair, I attended church more often, I started going to Institute. And then I had this feeling come over to me, it's like, don't forget, you know, me. And so I recommitted myself to that time in my life where I was reading scriptures and praying and you know, trying to attend the temple as much as I could. And that love, then the love of Christ enveloped me. It's just like, yeah, I've got you now. That fear you had, don't worry about it. It's me and you. And lucky for me, I decided to attend BYU Idaho because of the feeling I had up there, and that's where my wife and I courted and fell in love and all that fun stuff. Yeah, courted, sorry, old word. What's courted? I was getting had freeze in it, so. Anyway, so that was my first experience that I can truly remember where the love of Christ overcame this fear of, you know, I didn't go on a mission and all that. And, you know, I didn't go on a mission. I kind of missed out on a lot of those experiences, but I'm grateful for the lesson that I learned because I didn't go on a mission. And, you know, I had to experience some growth over the 2 years. I should have been on the mission that maybe is impacting my life now. The next experience that I want to talk about directly relates to you guys in a way. So after I graduated from college, I had a social studies degree where I could teach social studies, but that's not like a huge job market. It's like, here, come work here, we want you here. It's like hit or miss, you're going to work here, you're not. So I decided to try seminary out. I took some institute classes, and my two instructors liked me. They put me in the program. I started doing this, I don't even remember what it's called. So basically I went to Mountain View for a few weeks and taught. And they're like, hey, you're pretty good at this, so why don't you come back and be a student teacher? Which means, I don't know, you guys, some of you teachers might be student teachers. So I've been there. Anyway, but the process that your seminary teachers know, it's crazy. The seminary teaching process is crazy, and it's just like super nerve-wracking, at least for me, because it's like I really wanted it to work. So I started teaching at UCAS, Utah Academy of Science, where everyone's smarter than me, and they showed it. So, and so I started teaching, and I was being observed, and the students liked me, and it was going great. It was like, man, teaching the gospel every day to teenagers is like a dream come true. And then a couple days before Christmas break, I'd met with the general authority. He had interviewed me, which was like the most intimidating thing in my whole life. Like staring into my soul. It's like, I can't lie to you. You'll know. You'll know exactly what's happening in my life. So I got, that went pretty well. I mean, this is a pretty good sign. You know, I'm going through this process. I felt like it was going quickly. It's like maybe this is gonna work out and be able to teach seminary for the rest of my life, which was just It's like this dream of mine. However, a couple days before Christmas break, my seminary teaching dude, instructor guy, I don't know what you call him, he came, he's like, you know what, you need to find another job. It's like, oh my God, what? Like, that's how he said it. He's like, you know, you're a good teacher, but we need you to find a job somewhere else. So, yeah, that just like, fear of everything came out then. It's like, well, this was my job, and I have, almost three kids at home. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. So a couple nights later, I got on the computer. It's like, well, I've got a degree. Let's see what happens. I went to Alpine School District, and I saw that Pleasant Grove High School was hiring a social studies teacher part-time. I thought, I might as well take that shot. And it was first-year teacher, no teaching experience other than seminary. That was kind of a long shot for me. So I applied for it, got an interview by Mr. Norman, and they hired me as a part-time history teacher. So the lesson I learned, I had to trust Christ significantly when he told me when I was told I couldn't teach seminary, because that's like so right and so good and so perfect in teaching teenage individuals who are going out into the world how to trust and rely on Christ. Why would someone tell you no to that? And so when he told me no, I was confused, because it's like that's perfect. That's like what you want people to be doing. But as I relied on Christ's love, the fear changed when I started teaching at Pleasant Grove. It's like, oh wait, this is just as important, and this is just as great. And because I didn't get into seminary, I get to hang out and spend time with you guys every day of my life. And I know that sometimes I'm a sass. And I'm sorry. Sometimes. Sometimes. And I know, like, things happen, and it's like, wow, Salisbury's kind of a tool right now. It's because I'm a 32-year-old guy with 4 kids at home. Sometimes I bring that. But anyways, I've got daughters. The sass is coming, and it will always be there. It's never going away, forever and always. Okay? Yeah. But really, though, I mean, if this is like the one chance that I get to actually tell you guys how much I love you guys. I mean, all of you guys, some of you I've been taught before, but that's okay. You're still awesome. But those of you guys have just impacted my life in so many ways, and I might not show it all the time, but I tell my wife, I'll send her a text, or I'll tell her when I'm home, it's like, I have the best job ever. These students are just incredible. And you guys are incredible. And never forget how perfect and awesome you are. Regardless of the stuff that's going on in your life, you're still so awesome. And I see it. I know your seminary teachers see it, and your other teachers see it as well. You're awesome. And the love of Christ overcame that fear, and it put me in your path. And I'm so grateful. And it's put me in this position where I don't get to teach seminary, but I get to speak to you at least once in a while, and it's awesome. Okay, the third and final experience was something that just last year that was scary for me. So my baby, Morgan, who was just born in August, before she was born, my wife went into the doctor to get her checkup, and Morgan's heart was racing, and it was racing fast, which is unusual for a baby. So a normal range, like 120, 160 for a baby. So it would start at that range, and then it would go up to almost 200. And it would alternate rhythms, and that was super scary. And I'm a worry wart, I guess. So it's like that happens. I go, man, internet. What if your baby's heart is going fast? Well, prepare for the worst. Like, oh man, some Facebook mom told me to prepare for the worst, so I better. So what happened? So her heart was racing, and they had to put my wife on this medication that slowed down her heart, and we were up at Primary Children's thinking, oh man, they're gonna do this emergency delivery at like 32 weeks, which is scary if you know anything about having kids, and 40 weeks is like the week that you need to get to. And so they gave her this medicine, and it started working. It was like, cool, it's working, it's bringing her heart down, maybe that'll just kind of reset it, make it better. So I think 2 weeks, Susie? 2 weeks before she was due? 3?
What?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
No.
I just had to look at her and I knew.
No, it was like
3 weeks before she was born, my wife went back to the doctor and her heart had gone back up again. It's like, and the doctor, of course, says, we need to deliver this baby. So that's, whenever a doctor says we need to deliver the baby, I freak out. It's like, oh man, why? Why can't she just come naturally? It'd just be so much easier. But we got to the doctor. The labor went great. I mean, and she got here. It's like, oh, she's so beautiful, and it's so great, and babies are so wonderful. She's crying, and her heart's a little bit high, but it's not as high as it should be, or could be. Sorry, should be. It's like, well, now it's low. What's going on? No, it's not as high as it was. So a couple days had gone by, and the nurses and the doctors were like, yeah, she's doing all right. She's going to be okay. She's growing out of this arrhythmia that she had. It's like, okay. And then her pediatrician would come in and check on her. It's like, I'm not super comfortable with her heart. I feel like we need to monitor it for a long time. So, like, okay, let's do that. And it was still going up to about 199, 200, which freaked me out. So here comes the fear. I'm like, what if something happens to her that I don't even want to think about? Or what if she can't run? What if she can't do things like normal kids do? And so they take my baby and they admit her to the NICU, which is for infants who are some sort of health issue or whatever, if they're preemies. So they take her up there, and she's sprawled out, she's crying, and I had just gone home to see my kids, and I get there, my wife's watching this happen, and I'm not with her, and so she's freaking out about it, and I'm now freaking out about it. And I haven't told a lot of people this, so some of the things that they do to get that heart rate back to normal is they basically shock the baby back into, like, make her take a breath or get that heart rate back. So the doctors, which is routine apparently for some reason, they basically take a pack of ice and they smother her face with ice. Yeah. So we are there watching this take place, and my wife is just beside herself, and I've got my fist back. I can even knock the doctor out and say, this is the dumbest idea anyone's ever thought of. I'm not a fighter, so it would have been ugly. Like, what are you doing? It pushes you like, that's so they try this and her heart doesn't go down, so I'm freaking out. And so they get her to where she's stable, they wrap her up, and they've decided, we could either shock her heart with a defibrillator. It's like, yeah, get me out of the room for that one, otherwise go ham. On everyone in there. I don't care who it is, I'm gonna be karate chopping people all over the place. And so they decided not to do that because the doctors at Primary Children's like, no, because no, this is just an arrhythmia. So they start giving her medicine. So what I do is reflecting back on these life experiences I've had, I had to submit myself to our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so when I got to the doctor knowing that she was in the NICU, I prayed and I said, what can I do? What can I do to get this through? He's like, first, remember I'm in charge. I am number one. I know what's going on. I've experienced this. I've felt this fear. He's like, but I need something from you. One, commit yourself to being the best dad you can be, being the best disciple of Christ that you can be. I need you to fast. I need you to attend the temple. I need you to commit yourself to all these things. And I said, well, I can do that. And so I did. And I remember I opened my fast, and I was fasting for most of that Sunday. And temple's not open on Sunday, so I drove around Provo Temple for a while, just thinking about all this and just kind of taking myself out of the moment. And the love of Christ just hit me like a ton of bricks, and he told me things, and I felt things about my daughter that were indescribable and so special. And it gave me that faith and that hope in her life that I cannot even begin to describe to you how awesome it was. But the Lord showed me, because I was willing to commit to him and to his his way of life, that he would meet me halfway and help me cast out that fear. But now, she's sitting back there. If you guys want to turn and look at her, that cute little bald baby. Yeah. Eating her binky like. So she's super happy, and she's doing great. I mean, she's on medication. That is what it is. But she is awesome. She's growing. The Lord truly answered my desperate plea that Sunday afternoon when she was in the NICU for the first time. She was in the NICU for about almost 2 weeks, but I mean, it was scary, but the Lord does truly answer prayers. So as we finish up, because I know you guys are super anxious for fourth period today, especially my students. That's right. I just want to close with this last little bit from President Uchtdorf, and then I'll bear my testimony to you guys. So in that talk, he says, "We do not walk the path of discipleship alone. The Lord thy God doth go with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee." Don't forget that. Don't forget it. "The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. In the face of fear, let us find our courage, muster our faith, and have confidence in the promise that no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper." So if anything you guys take from this, other than I'm a worrywart, have anxiety, take this. It's the phrase that Uchtdorf says there, where he says, "The Lord will fight for you," because he will. Whatever you're experiencing, he's going to fight for you, tooth and nail, all the way forever. I promise you that. I know for a fact. I've lived through it. I've experienced his fight on my behalf. He did not go to the Garden of Gethsemane for nothing. He went for you guys. He went for me to give us this way to deliverance and this hope. You guys cling to that hope. I know that a lot of you have questions, you have fears, but remember that. Remember that the Lord is there for you. He will fight for you always, 100% of the time. Never will he not. Regardless of the choices you've made, where you are at today, tomorrow, next week, he's going to continue to fight for you forever. I know this church is true. I know Jesus is the Christ. I know that what you're learning in this building is so important. Don't take it for granted. I know that what you learn, it can change your life if you let it. Listen to your seminary teachers. They love you. I love you. Be great. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you again.